welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Enthros Campbell. Today we'll be focusing on the Rural Economic Development Initiative of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, the JSIF. Our resource person is Managing Director Omar Sweeney. Mr. Sweeney, so good to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
All right, good. We want to start at the very beginning. Okay. What is the Rural Economic Development Initiative?
Well, JSIF, as you know, for the last 24 years, we've been in rural Jamaica especially, developing infrastructure and providing social services. One of the crying calls from persons in these communities is a sustainable livelihood. So in 2010, we initiated with our partners, the World Bank,
yes,
the Rural Economic Development Initiative, and that was really aimed at helping the economies of these small communities and villages where persons could earn where they are, right? We could stop the rural to urban drift,
yes,
and we could connect now the infrastructure we have made in schools and health centers and roads to a thriving economy. So in 2020, READY, targeting agriculture and community-based tourism enterprises, was initiated. And that went for 7 years,
right,
under a loan from the World Bank,
yes,
of $15 million US.
Yes, right. So the World Bank is your partner. Tell me about some of the achievements in the first phase.
In the first phase, like I said, with the $15 million US over the 7 years, we were able to create 1,300 sustainable
yes,
jobs. I mean, in real terms, that's close to 100 jobs per parish. We saw agriculture in 2016, a 17% increase in the agricultural production in the country. And more than anything else, I think one of our greatest achievements was $6 million US of our food import bill was reduced.
Oh, really? Oh,
so
good.
local farmers were able to
Good.
provide that amount of food to the market.
Good, very good, excellent. So now we're at phase 2, which was launched in September of this
Yes.
year. What are you expecting from this phase?
Well, we established a number of enterprises under phase 1, Ready 1. Under phase 2, we are going to continue to dive deeper. Ready 1 targeted roughly 5 parishes. This is an all-island program, right? This will also target medium and micro small business enterprises. It will target additional community tourism enterprises, especially in underserved parishes like St. Thomas and Hanover, where there's many opportunities, but they just have not been developed. And so our intention here, we have a much larger pool of funds. It's $40 million US, like I said, for all island. And so our expectation on the Ready 2 is to really to continue to reap the success of the program.
Right. So this focus is on agriculture and now tourism. So it's a link to create some kind of linkages?
There's a linkage because the tourism industry, of course, I mentioned the food import bill. The tourism industry imports a lot of food. And beyond the domestic market, our farmers can produce at the quality and scale that the tourism industry requires. Also, beyond the normal all-inclusives, there are many local attractions, not just for visitors, but also for local tourists ourselves. There are many local attractions in every parish island-wide that could be developed to the standard. Under the Ready 1, the community tourism policy was developed. And what that does, it sets a baseline or a standard for all attractions. So you have a nice hiking trail, you have a waterfall, something going on, but there's a standard because you want to ensure when people come to your property, they're properly insured, the safety protocols are in place. Now there's COVID. And so we want to ensure that when someone comes to the market and says they're offering a product, the government can sanction it. And so this is the type of support that small, medium business enterprises will get to develop their tourism enterprises.
Right. So we have more funds. I think in the first phase, people got like 200, and now you're moving up to 5. Tell me what are the benefits and compare them from
we don't particularly have any specific amount for the grant. The grant's amount for this program is the maximum ceiling is $500,000 US. The average grant we expect to give will probably be around $200,000 based on the cohort that we're going for. The next thing I would say to you is that it's a matching grant program,
Right.
which does not mean that if you're asking for 5 million, you need to have 5 million. It just means that based on the enterprises, you will have to put some of your own financial resources into it.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
So tell me about the people who can access this grant.
That's a great question. One of the things that happens when you say small business enterprises, we are targeting community groups. The basis of how JSIF works is on the basis of community enterprises, benevolent societies, associations, small registered groups, farming groups, women groups, different enterprises that are registered groups. Individual businesses would have to show a linkage to a group. Okay? So if you have a business, for example, that takes produce from a group of registered farmers and sells it to the supermarkets, you are eligible because you can show the linkage to the community group. Because that community group may not necessarily be interested in selling to the supermarket. They just want someone to take it off of them. And so it's really open to all entities, but you have to show a strong linkage to a community enterprise.
Let's take a quick break now and pick up with more information on the Rural Economic Development Initiative of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund. Stay with us.
If you've ever wondered what your property taxes are used for, wonder no more. Your property taxes provide revenue for the provision of public and community amenities throughout Jamaica, which are delivered by local government officials. When you pay your property taxes, you aid with the maintenance and expansion of our street lighting to ensure you are not walking in the dark at nights, the collection and disposal of solid waste to prevent the pileup of garbage in communities, the improvement of our community infrastructure, and repairs to fire stations and service vehicles, along with rehabilitation of our roads. Pay your property taxes online, in line, or via mobile tax units and avoid being sought by the government. For more information, visit the Tax Administration website at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm or call 876-902-9463.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We are talking to the Managing Director of JSIF, Mr. Omar Sweeney. Thank you so very much for staying with us. Mr. Sweeney, JSIF is now accepting business proposals for the community tourism enterprises for matching grant support program under Ready. Now, we were talking about who can apply for this kind of support. Tell us about the application requirements.
Okay, so first of all, our partners with the Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Tourism will host the applications and enable persons to apply. So I encourage you to work through the agencies like TPDCO, RADA, Jamaica Bauxite Institute, the SDC, Tourism Enhancement Fund, and the Jamaica Tourist Board. They will host and facilitate and enable persons, because there are many questions that persons have based on their unique situation. And so that's one. The second thing is, beyond, I mentioned the community groups before, we are looking for applications that especially encourage and target women, 40% women participation, and youth. At least 30% of youth is something that will be more favorable type of applications. I also wanted to say that Ready 2 will support the government institutions with infrastructure, like agro-processing facilities, to like honey bottling facilities. These are the things that will enable purveyors and persons doing farming to have value-added products beyond the normal shelf life. Right. And so the applications are due November 25th. Now, what I would say to that is, if you're not going to be ready for November 25th, don't feel as if you have missed the boat. This is only the first call,
yes,
right? Yes. We don't anticipate that the entire amount of the grants will be granted from this first call of proposals. I would prefer for you to be properly prepared And the next call will come out, I would say, in 2021, and then you'll be able to apply at that point in time.
So what do you mean by ready, prepared? What do they need to be ready to be prepared?
To be prepared, you'd have to provide, for instance, your company information. You'd have to provide your evidence of linkages, like I mentioned, with the community groups. You have to provide the business feasibility of your company, the structure of your company, as well as your business plan. It's essentially a business plan type of proposal to access the grant. And if you do have to provide matching resources, you would provide evidence of those resources.
Right. So who can help them if they don't have those business plan and all of those things?
Well, there's other government agencies like the JBDC
Yes.
that will help. And like I said, we have officers in JSIF that will also facilitate, but it's not going to be a situation where someone will do all the work for you. I mean, you do have to show some demonstrated capacity to receive this. I mean, if you think about it, to receive a grant of $20, $25, $30 million, that will go to an entity that demonstrates some capacity to manage those resources.
Mm-hmm. For starters, though, we need to just get to our website and download the form and
Yes.
read what is needed.
Correct.
Tell us which website.
Well, our website, www.jsif.org, the form is there. And like I said, the websites of all our partners, I don't have them to memory.
Right.
But certainly, if not, you can just call in, send an email, and we will, and now JIS.
Yes.
Can also help to facilitate.
Yes. We want people to know that even though we're targeting women and young people, that everybody else can.
It's open to all. It's open to all parishes, all communities, and all entities. I'm just giving some pointers in terms of the ones that will be most competitive.
Yes.
And we really encourage. What we want to encourage is a robust participation, because we only have 5 years to assess the applications and implement the solutions.
So this will
Ready
take
to.
5 years?
What?
You said you have
No,
5 years?
No. Ready to.
Yes.
The
It's for
financing is for 5
5
years.
years, okay.
So we have to assess it, give the grant, and allow you to implement the grant
Yes.
within the period of
Yes.
the 5 years
Yes.
to be on the road to success.
All right. Okay. So it's open. It's open now.
Yes.
Right. And people have the deadline. Remind us of the deadline again.
November 25th.
Right. And just talk to Jamaica about this initiative.
Well, I encourage Jamaica to really take part in this initiative. I mean, certainly with the COVID pandemic, many small and micro enterprises are struggling now to stay in business. But we do know to recover and to emerge, we have to stimulate domestic demand. We have to have domestic supply. We have to continue to have a high standard of goods and services. And Ready is here to support that. The government of Jamaica has added Ready to the suite of support programs that will be offered to help private sector to really ride the storm out.
Right. And Ready 2 is targeting farmers, and we want people to access this funding so it can help them beyond COVID.
Absolutely. And beyond COVID, there's also climate resilience. I mean, drought
Yes.
for farmers is a big thing. So drip irrigation kits, greenhouses, protected agriculture, all these type of climate resilient technologies are the things that Ready will be funded.
Yes. Before we wrap, though, tell us a little bit about JSIF.
Well, JSIF, I mean, we've been around for 24 years, and we're formed originally as a part of the government's National Poverty Alleviation Strategy. And for many years, for decades, for 15 to 20 years, we spent a lot of time dealing with access to education, access to proper health, access roads, of course, and social and organizational strengthening, making community groups stronger. We believe we've been successful. We number our beneficiaries at 1.8 million Jamaicans, direct and indirect. So you could see close to 2/3 of our population has interacted with one of our projects. And we now currently are working in a portfolio of economic livelihood Ready, which we just spoke about, disaster vulnerability. We are also in crime prevention, as well as sanitation. So those are the things that we believe keep people poor. If we're able to reinforce and strengthen those things, then we should all rise as a nation.
We thank you for the work you've been
Thank
doing,
you.
and we just wish you all the best with this Ready To project.
Thank you.
Good, good. This has been Get the Facts. Our guest was Managing Director of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, Omar Sweeney. For more information on the Jamaica Social Investment Fund and its initiatives, visit its website at www.jcif.org. Until next time, when Get the Facts brings you, as always, more useful information, I'm your host, Enthros Campbell. Thanks for watching and take good care.